three of the top five teams in the world in the same pool, which already is an injustice to rugby
Of course.
fans.
No, definitely.
But this was the draw, and the first game up is against Scotland. They're number 5 in the world. They're playing extremely well. I
Yeah.
really enjoy their rugby. Honestly, I'm a big fan of Scotland. Obviously, I want the Springboks to win,
Yeah.
but I don't want to see Scotland not progress to the quarters.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really rough one because you're talking about that means either South Africa or world number 1, Ireland, needs to go out for them to progress.
No, well, yeah, that's unfortunately the truth, but that is the injustice that
No,
we've been
I know.
speaking
I mean,
about.
that's why I personally think we won't go into this. Maybe we'll do a special episode on this, but I personally feel like they should do a draw 1 year before. Like, it gives you enough time to buy your tickets and all of that, but honestly, like doing a draw so far in advance, look at this. This is chaotic. All of these teams deserve to be in a semi-final.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyways, let's jump into this game. I mean, it's a huge game. Obviously, South Africa selected quite a strong team. For me personally, if we quickly touch on the South African lineup, maybe 1 or 2 players that, if they have to choose a World Cup starting lineup for the final tomorrow, I would change, and probably Dwayne Vermeulen, and maybe I would start Willie Leroux. But other than that, it's probably the strongest team you can.
Look, it is an incredibly
right
strong team. We've gone with the 6-2 bench. We're going with
no
the power
7-1,
play.
surprisingly.
We didn't go with the 7-1 this time. We're definitely going with the power play because we've seen in the past that Scotland does seem to struggle a bit against that type of power play, forward dominance type of rugby, set piece dominance. However, they're incredibly skillful, and we shouldn't take away from the fact that Finn Russell might even be my favorite rugby player on the planet. I mean, he is such a good general for that Scotland team, and they've got some fiery backs, and definitely not light in the forwards either. So, I mean, they're going to be extremely up for this game.
Yeah.
But let's go through the lineups, Gabsy, or at least the South African lineup.
Yeah.
What do you make of that forward pack?
I mean, for me personally, like I said, I think it's probably the strongest team we can select, except for, I think Jasper Wiese is the only guy that I would say has a point to prove. The rest of the team
didn't have a great season though.
Yeah, I mean, so maybe this is his chance to really go and play one hell of a game and get himself really back in the mix for. Personally, if I'm being brutally honest, I think, if this was a World Cup final, Dwayne Vermeulen would be starting. Just, the form he's been in. But maybe then again, we have a plan there. Bomb squad has been effective. I think, it's still something, even though it's not as big of a hype as it used to be. The bomb squad is definitely something.
But what is interesting about that bomb squad, usually we choose for 2 locks on the bench. And it seems that Rassie Erasmus and Jock Nienaber have favoured Jean Klein coming on with RG Snyman from the bench for that bomb squad. However, we've learned now that John Klein does have a sort of a hamstring, a little bit of a niggle. It's nothing too serious. The same thing for Canan Moodie, because I think a lot of rugby fans out there wanted to see Canan Moodie. Because, I mean, that guy's been just in incredible form. I mean, that guy's going to put this whole World Cup alight.
I told you
20-year-old kid.
Yeah, I mean, I told you this pre-recording. We had a quick chat, and I said to you, for me personally, I feel like they're going to give Andre and Canan the chance to play against Tonga, and they'll also play Romania. And if they play really, really well, it's going to really cause one hell of a headache for Jock and Rassie to select the knockouts.
But that becomes the next question. We've gone for Damien Dalende and Jesse Kriel. Dalende maybe his position has been threatened by Andre Esterhuizen, who's been in great form so far.
Phenomenal.
However, why is it that the Springbok coaches have so much trust in that centre pairing of South Africa?
Experience.
It does come with experience.
It comes down to the experience.
But they're such great defenders. And if you look at that Scottish team, right? Like, everyone gives them a lot of plaudits for Finn Russell, their wingers, Duan van der Merwe doing such great work, Carl Steyn. But the damage that they actually make is through their centres. They make a lot of line breaks through the middle. And I think Jock Nienaber and Rassie Erasmus have identified that threat. Because, Finn Russell, he holds the ball in his own hands for quite some time until that defender bites, and then he releases his centres. So just out of a defensive system point of view, I think they made the right call.
I mean, I agree 100% with you. And I think also, World Cup is for big occasions. Experience is important. And I think you're spot on there. I mean, we've heard it from Jock and Rassie. They said, Finn Russell is a threat. You know, he's amazing with ball in hand. And we know Scotland knows if they're trying to play us up front, it's going to get tough. It's going to be a long day at the office.
Yeah.
Or they try and play their type of game where they rule it through the backs. And that's probably, you know...
That's the thing. What you don't want to do as an opposing team against the Springboks is go into an arm wrestle against them.
No.
I mean, time and time again, teams have tried it and they failed.
No, I mean...
So you have
100%.
to play your own game. And what is the Scotland way of playing? They play wide to wide, right? And it's almost
heads
like
up rugby.
Heads up rugby. I love it. And Gregor Townsend, their coach, you can see they've actually built a sort of a game plan, an attacking game plan around Finn Russell, because he is such an integral part of their attack. So you'll see the ball going wide to wide. They're definitely going to give those wingers a lot of ball, which brings me to the next question. You got Duan van der Merwe coming up against Kurtley Arendse. We've chosen two smaller wingers. Maybe for the more X factor rather than catching high balls necessarily.
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, to be brutally honest, pre-World Cup I already said for me, if I could, I would start them both together because I think they're excellent under the high ball. Like, arguably better than Kainan under the high ball. You know, he struggled a little bit in that one game against Wales. So I honestly think these are our best two wingers right now.
I mean, you say struggled. He did get man of the match.
Well, he did not compete that well under the high ball.
Fair enough. But that's the next thing, Gabs.
Yeah, I mean, man of the match.
That I do need to ask you quickly, and this is, it's not a criticism to Willie Leroux or to Moni Lebok, but I think their defense might not be as up to par. So they brought in Damien Willemse at the back, and we know that he is a different kind of attacking threat than Willie Leroux. Willie Leroux manages an attack very well. He knows when to pull the trigger, when to give that long pass. But Damien Willemse, he's the hot stepper. He's the game breaker, you know. And playing him with Kurtley and Jason Colby could see a lot of counter-attacking tries if the Scottish kick that ball loosely.
Yeah. No, I mean, you make an excellent point, but I have to say Damien is also excellent on defense, so it makes sense for me. Yeah. Selection makes sense. I think some people would really say, you know, for me, out and out, like I said again, 2 question marks. Probably, I would imagine Willie being in the starting, considering how well he's been playing. Yeah. Same for Dwayne. But yeah, I mean, since we don't have the Scottish team selection just yet, we can assume they'll pick their strongest team. I mean, I would say so. Yeah. Predictions on this one, Goran? You know,
this is such a tough game. It's going to come down to the wire, I do think. I do think those forwards, the bomb squad on the bench, will make the difference in the end of the day. I think it'll be very tight right up until the end, until those Scottish players become tired and so on, and then they bring in those fresh legs. I think that'll just be a step too far for them. However, it could go either way. You know, it's definitely not a gimme for the Boks. They know how important this is.
Yeah, I mean, they've identified it. Yeah,
R.J. Snyman said in the interview, this is the most focus he's ever seen the Boks. So, you know, that gives me a lot of confidence going into this game, right? Yeah. So we're going to have to start firing from the get-go. And then after this one, we'll start rotating our squad.
Yeah. No. So, and your Superbru pick there then?
No. I go with the Booker by I'm going to say 8.
Lovely. Yeah. I'm going Boks. I'm going to go a bit more confident. Boks by 10. And yeah, I mean, let's hope for a great game of rugby.
Last question that I have for you. All right. If you say Boks by 10, yeah, which player from the Springboks is the player that is going to give you that result? Who needs to have their best game from the Springboks?
I think, you know, it's probably a very boring answer, but I do think that Mani Lebok needs to play well again. We've seen him inconsistent off the tee, and I think he needs to slot every kick. It's World Cup rugby right now, you know?
Yeah, it's going to give him a lot of confidence if he has a good game, right?
We need it.
For me in this one, once again, I think Siya Kolisi.
Okay.
We just see the difference that he makes when he is back. It's just the Boks have an edge. And if he has a big game, the Boks will cruise to victory.
Yeah. By the way, just a side note, the reason why I never ask what do you say is because you always tell me for me, so I don't get the chance to ask you what do you think. But thank you.
Because you know I'm going to tell you.
Thank you so much for that.
All right, let's go to the green machine, right? We're going to Dijon tomorrow, guys. We'll bring you guys live updates.
And we're also got a couple of interviews with some fans. So if you're out there, like please, guys, if you see us for t-shirts or
come join us on the casting couch here at the Rugby Hub, and we'll see you guys soon.
Please let us know what you think about the game and the predictions. And thank you so much, Gordy. Lovely. Cheers, guys.